Welcome everyone, welcome back. Day 3, continuation for our Selenium basic level training as part of a JPACT program as well. So let's continue with where we left yesterday on the testing that we're doing using Selenium IDE. But before that, I have a few points to share with everyone team. I hope you all received the updates email. So just a quick recap on this is that the demo sessions were done on a different webinar. All the premium sessions now will be done on this new link. Okay, at least for the Selenium Basics training. So if you're watching this video because you've missed to register for the right one, please contact at learn@itln.com so we can resend the correct link for you all. All right. Second, when we do the live sessions, we're going to be recording the sessions. All of them will put it into the website. Give us at least a day's time, team, to put it into the right page and share with all. All right. So this video may not be accessible right after the webinar. So go to webinar link. I already mentioned about that. Google Drive we will use to share files and folders. Like for example, all the test scripts that we do, anything that we do for IDE, documentation and so on, all that we will put it into Google Drive and we'll keep sharing that regularly. But it may not be on a daily basis, team. So very important that you have to go through the videos and be able to repeat what we've done and practice based on that, please. All right. So here is the high level schedule, team. Though I said that first, second and fifth will be able to finish with about an hour and a half, there's a high chance and possibility that it may get extended by 1 or 2 days. Prime intent being we have to cover all the topics that is important for us. Okay, by end of this training on Selenium basics, you should be very comfortable on few areas, team. One is Selenium IDE element identification, automation basics. How do we do automation? What is the fundamental reason behind it? All the main core concepts which you've kind of already went through. How we go from Selenium IDE to WebDriver. A little bit on Eclipse IDE and how we start working with it. Then we will go and focus a little bit more on Selenium WebDriver, the commands and how it will start looking. Very basic level intro towards managing tests using core Java. We may also do it using JUnit. So a few of these we will look into it. So this is what you will have to be absolutely comfortable before end of this training, which is another 3-4 sessions from now. All right. Next thing is we did reach each of you for on Interact. Okay, so Interact right now has some database issues, team. So ignore it and don't worry about it till we come back. So that's basically our communication platform to be able to better communicate and pass messages to you. We'll get that, we're getting that fixed right now and hopefully it will start. So wait for my communication on that. So you can ignore anything about Interact in the meanwhile. All right. There is this session on NEOT, which is kind of going to walk through about what NEOT is at a very high level and how it's been built and so on. So that session is on December 7th at the old JPACT link. So remember the day 1, day 2 you attended on the same webinar link. We're going to be having the NEOT session on December 7th. All right. So that's something that you can keep as part of your calendar and planning and be able to attend accordingly. So team, like I said, there were 2 batches that we started for JPACT, batch A and batch B. Okay. Batch A primarily starts with level 0 and starts building from there. So we started with manual testing and we kept going from there on. All right. So if you look at the JPACT page, web page, you will see the schedule for it. So this is batch A team. Batch A where we started with manual testing and we'll keep going through all the advanced concepts slowly. Batch B straight away starts with Selenium basic, level, advanced, and then NEOT. So this is the one we are currently doing right now. So for some of you who are looking for an extended period of time to be able to get through the jobs and so on, Batch A will do a great job. For the other members who are more well prepared and believe that if they get the right automation testing tool knowledge, they should be able to get into the market. We will be grooming you on that with in a shorter period of time. That's the whole point. So once batch B ends towards end of December, early Jan. Actually, this is going to be more like early Jan team. We will then start with going into batch A again. So it's like they'll keep repeating. We'll have new JPACT members keep joining us. So live projects is very critical as part of this training schedule. We also spoke about live projects out here. So there'll be a lot of focus on live projects team. So that is something you'll have to really work on. Okay. So the Selenium live project may be more of NEOT and Selenium live project. So this may move after the NEOT training. So that way we go through the whole thing and start working with NEOT as a platform quickly. Apart from this, a few more points that I wanted to make it is that the our kind of assumption or perception of how the job market is. Is it simple or is it pretty complex to get in? When I say complex, right from preparing resume, attending interviews, what do we talk in interviews and all that. The whole 9 yards of it. From my perspective team, it is absolutely simple. And the only reason I am able to make it simple on not only job market, but anything that I do in life is because I break these complex problems into smaller steps. So once I got it, I don't look at saying that, hey, did I get the job? Yes or no. That's not the goal. The goal is there are 10 steps to get a job, right from training, preparing you, communication skills, resume, job boards, all of them. And have we done each step or not? That's what it will boil down to. And that's where we'll really focus on team. Okay. So we have started to prepare the initial database of potential job seekers. Amulya from my team is contacting each of you to start getting some perspective. Information like where are you located? What kind of a visa are you on? Do you have prior experience? What's your current skill set? What are your expectations? Are you ready to relocate or are you looking for a job very locally within your area and so on? And then Manoj, me and Amulya will interact with you to make sure that how do we map the right job. When we say map the right job, technical screening, grooming, preparing you for the right roles, all that will work on. All right. So a lot of people have been asking, hey, I live in a specific location. Can you help placing in this location? So my answer to this one team is that no, we cannot, but we will try and push hard for it. Okay. So it's not like there's gonna be that, hey, this is where we will guaranteely find a job. But we're going to work together. We're going to see how that can be accomplished overall. Everyone with me, team, so far? I know some of you have already been in the manual testing training which started earlier. So you should have seen a similar overview from my side at that point in time as well. Very important team of this statement. Spoon feeding is not something that we will do at our end. We will not, team. We expect you to be very self-sufficient. Reading communication, following instructions, making sure that you start taking initiative and being proactive at your end is all something we will really emphasize. And this is not a training where we make it very easy for you and comfortable where you can lay back like in a movie theater and watch what's going on. This program is going to make you work. This program will make you struggle through things and make you feel uncomfortable because we're going to push you We're going to really make you work on things, team, not just training. Now, for example, we are doing each day's training. I did not tell you to go and practice, but that does not mean that you will not. Every day what we do in the class, go back and keep repeating it. Keep practicing. Go with the flow. All right. This also means that if you're asking questions, please think twice before you ask them. Do you already have an answer, or are you looking for an easy option to get an answer? So please make sure that you're very, very well organized and committed in the right way for this program. All right. The other question is, in this short period of time, do we or will we be able to get through all these courses? Like for example, batch A is more extensive, batch B is at least a little bit more relaxed. So what I said is the intent of this program is not to master everything. We will start with mastering one or two areas which is very, very critical from a job perspective. That is what industry is looking at. Okay. But at the same time, we'll be strongly aware of others. The reason I'm saying strongly aware is as you go through each of these programs or out here, there's some aspects that you really can skip. You can say, you know what, it's not mandatory for me, but it is good to be aware. Because a lot of times when we apply for software jobs, especially in the testing area, you may be selected for a automation testing job, but you may only end up doing backend testing or database testing or some functional testing, manual testing, and so on. So there's never a clarity as to what you will work on. As you work on it, on the job learning, that is key as well, team. All right. Now, so it is very important for us to be nimble in these areas. So that's the whole thing. Okay. So when I say master, how do we master one or two of them? We will do extensive training, but you're going to be practicing extensively on it along with us. All right. And that's going to really give you that comfort feeling. The next one, from an awareness point on the other few things that we will train you on, we will train you, but then you don't have to really focus too much on it right away. As things go along, as time flies by, then you can start looking at it. Okay, so there are some of you who are looking at only spending able to 2 hours a day, to some of you who are able to do 6 hours or more per day. So your goal, your situation. So you have to set your goals, team. You have to make sure that you're focused on this program. You've already made a huge investment on the training fee and the amount of time you're putting. It is all your dreams, your vision. And we are going to be here as your guide to make you succeed in that. So you have to set that and push yourself accordingly, everyone. Fair enough? All right. The other emphasis that I really want to make sure, team, is in any communication that you make, be it the way you speak, be it the way you ask questions, be it anything, please be absolutely clear. I would not like to see any English or grammatical mistakes in that, team. This is so critical for being a software test professional. I cannot re-emphasize that fact. Okay. End of the day, we are one of the few people in an IT department, in any organization, who gets to interact with multiple roles, different types of people across the whole IT landscape, right from business, end users, the customers, the developers, PA project managers, delivery heads, the development side, the database administrators, the network teams. So there's so many people that you will touch across. So please emphasize a lot on that. Okay. We have also scheduling a soft skills training that we would love to, you all must participate. It's mandate for everyone in JPACT. We will schedule on that as well. Okay. So the registration link, everything has been sent to you. So you've got that details too. All right, team. So before I continue with the class, any other questions that are still unanswered that are important right now, please do let me know. Any questions, team? Didn't I save the test case? I did. Okay. At least one I did. So I have this. All right, team. So looks like no questions right now. So maybe we can continue with the training then. Anyone facing issues with my audio, team? Because honestly, my voice is still very bad. So I'm kind of not able to speak very extendedly on each time. Anyone else having an issue with my audio? Nope. Okay. So all right. If there's any breaks that you're seeing externally, let me know. I can switch to a telephone line, team. All right. If it continues to break extensively, please keep me informed on that. All right. So Manoj, I know you're also there, right? On this. So I'll continue with some of these and then we'll figure out some of the other topics that are critical that you can also handle as we go along. But I'm going to go with the flow right now.
Sure, Karthik.
All right, so let me run this test case that I prepared earlier, that we prepared earlier. And this, we did it as a regular one, right? Remember, like using record and then playback. Now, let's talk about a new test case, team. Okay, a new test case altogether. In that test case, let's start talking from our template that we have, and we'll try and work on from here. So the first way we did was to do the record and playback. Now we'll do a custom script. So I'm going to call this neot_tc002. Okay, just a number to it. Now what are the different steps that I'll have for it? I don't know yet. Now there could be many aspects to it, team. You could look at an application and figure out what it could be. So for example, on Neot itself, we can talk about the forgot password, which is very simple and quick for us to do it. So it will give us a good feel, team. This is still under development, so there's a lot of work going on. But then let's talk about forgot password. User sign up also we can do, but maybe I can do a little bit and then you can practice a lot more onto it. All right, everyone?
Voice is breaking up.
My voice is breaking. All right. Can I request everyone to hold for a few seconds? I will connect to my phone directly. Thank you. Audio, phone call. All right, team, how is it now? All right, team. So I've moved to my phone and connected to this audio. So I think it should be good. If there's an issue, let me know, please. All right. Now let's look at it, team. Always remember one thing, team, especially Selenium or any function automation testing tool to begin with, is going to be so super exciting and interesting. It is just, very amazing at how these tools work, because it gives us some power in our hand that, hey, we do ABC and then we have a tool or a system that will go about doing our work for us. So not only from a work point or testing point and so on, you can think of this as what else in my regular life can I automate? What else can I do? So that is the kind of flexibility that it gives to us. Okay. Now, the test case that I want to write is very simple, team. Open browser, navigate till here, the same step. I'm just going to quickly copy and paste. Let me give a different background here. It's very clear for us which test case we're working on. This is only a few steps, so I'll just say, oops, okay, that's fine. Open a browser, navigate to the URL. Now what do we do? The next thing we do is click on this forgot password. Click on forgot password. Now, is that a link? Is that a button? Is that something else? We're not worried yet. But as the regular manual testing, we got to click on the forgot password. So for this, we don't, so this specific column team, let me hide it. I don't require. Do I require any test data when I'm clicking on the link? Do I need to know test data? Everyone must answer, team. Please, each of the 28 participants who are there in the session must answer. It is mandatory. Do we need to be able to provide that information? Like test data. Okay. When it comes to entering information, so this is where our fundamentals and basics again are important. What and where, correct? And then there is the additional information that we need to provide, which is our test data. What is to identify the element? What are we going to do? Where is that element located specifically? And then if we need to give or enter any information into it, that is what the test data will do for us. Okay. So that means that for clicking on a link, I just need to know what and the where is important. I don't need to provide any additional input team. Understood, everyone? That is all that I require. So for clicking on a link, you don't need any test data. Now, do you require, so this is nothing, I'll just put, so the test data is there, and then there's the, so few columns. This will make things very interesting now. What is the command that we need to perform? What is it that we want to do? Okay. Then next is where, or the element identification. I'll say element ID. Okay. Now in the previous session, so someone told me a little while back that they could not attend the first couple of days. So could I kind of brief on what we did? So primarily what we did, let me give you a very quick overview, is that we're taking an application, we did a record and run using Selenium IDE. Now is the real aspect where we're trying to go into the depth of how we do it manually. Okay. So the command for opening browser is basically open. That's the command that is performing. Navigate is the command. Here click is the command that we're performing. Where on the browser, which is a Firefox browser. Okay. Navigate to the URL. Test data is here, but anything else that we want, we could provide here. All right. Now, to click on forgot password, how can we click on it? How do we click on? This is where element identification becomes very important. All right. So there are a few things that I wrote down from yesterday. Where did I put that folder? SBT, here. The different types of element identification, right? Now today I will talk about this element identification thing. In fact, I'm going to create a directory to the Google Drive. It will be easy for us. Not here. So team, like you see, we do not come very prepared with documentation or PowerPoint slides and so on. We try and create it on the fly. That way you even will retain it very well. Element identification methods. All right. So there are 5 different methods. The first way that we do it using an ID attribute. Okay. The second is called name attribute. The third is using link text. What is the link text that we're using? The fourth is using something called as Xpath. Fifth is the CSS. Okay. Now,
We will go through each of them, but do note that we'll focus a lot more on Xpath team because that's one of the top ways to do it, and that's little tough comparatively, but then it's our job to make it very interesting and easy for you. All right. Now, in this case, it depends on the type of the element itself. So my element is a link. Is it a link? Yes or not, everyone? Forgot password? How do we know if it's a link or not? Right click on it, say inspect element with Firebug, and see if the HTML starts with A. Sorry, team, to mute. So, lot of times we make an assumption, team, and that's where we go wrong in automation. You should never make an assumption. Always go through the process and try and find out if it's correct or not, whatever you do. So here it does tell us that it is A. A stands for an anchor text or a hyperlink within any HTML code, team. With any HTML element that you see starts with this text as A, like this, is a link that we can click on. Okay. Now, if you notice this whole code, there are few attributes: ID, value, class, value, href, value. Now comes how can we identify this? Okay. So we've got this ID is so and so, right? I'm going to copy this information. Let's go to Selenium IDE here. So what is the first command that I need to do? I'm writing the steps here. You know what? Let me do this thing. First, I'll finish writing the test case. Then we will get to this. Okay. So open, click on forgot password. Then what do we do? Once we click here, enter email address. Let's say I enter some blah 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 at .com, and then click on recover. Button, I'll say. Okay. And now it's actually taking me to a very different site. Okay, because still a very broken one. So let us say as part of this test, just assume, team, that you're expecting to see this. Oops, that page can't be found. So you want to make sure that this text is coming. Okay, it's a broken one, team. Still I'm saying that NEOT is not a total, it's in the development. There's a new version that is already available for us to do it. I'm not going to show it right away. Maybe before the last couple of classes I will. Okay. All right, where are we? I want to see this. Verify text. This is what we're going to do. Now, anything requires test data? Yes, some email we have to give, right? Click on recover button. For this clicking, you don't need any test data. Verify text. What text do you want to verify? This is primarily the test data team. All right, everyone. This is our test data. Just a quick question to all team. Do you feel I'm going slow, fast, and so on? How's the speed? My test case. Okay. All right. Now it's going to keep increasing, team. The speed will continue to increase. So how do I take this step and write this step in the new test case that is here? So this test case, I'm going to call it as NEOT_TC002. That's the title. Okay. So we have two test cases. One test case TC001, next one TC002. Now, everything we will write command target value. What is the command for the first one? How do we know which is the command, team? What is the methodology? How do we remember? Let's say we're not great at mugging things and remembering that this is how it's going to be done. Two ways, team. One, do a record and see what will come up. Okay. Second is try and look at what command from an English perspective. What is it we try to do? We want to open a browser. So let's say start typing open. As soon as I say open, see there are few commands coming. Click on the first one and see the reference. What does it say in the very detailed English? Opens an URL in the test frame. Wonderful. That is what we want. Now, what is the target that we should give for this? Is the target right for each of them? Is this the one? The URL? So I'll put this here. So hopefully our first one is done. Okay. Now what is the next command? Open and navigate. This is basically opening the browser and navigating. Is it correct or not? We don't know yet. We're just trying to write the test case right now. So click on forgot password. How do I know what is the command? The what? We talked about what now. So we're trying to perform an action, a verb, right? Which is like click something. So let's say click. As soon as I write click, there are few options coming. See, click, click and wait, click at, click and wait. Let's see what click does. Clicks on a link, button, checkbox, or radio button. All right. So click is done. Now target for it. You remember I was talking about the 4 different ways we can do the target. Where is it out here? ID, name, link text, Xpath, or CS. First thing we need to do is get that element HTML code and put it somewhere. Now, do you see ID is forgot underscore password underscore link? Let's see. If I go in here and say ID equals this value and make sure my browser also is present. Everyone with me, team? And click on this find. It should be able to highlight that specific element. You see blinking? That basically says that this is correct. So let's say I make an error in it and say find. Nothing is happening here. But at the same time, if you go to log, it will tell you that, hey, you know what? That locator is not found. You have to maybe change the target. Right? So if you give the right things, it should be able to find. The other way is I can also say that it's a link equals, actually I don't even remember if it's a link or link text. Whatever is there between this HTML tag. So HTML tag is very simple, team. Okay. Start and then something in between. Finally, HTML tag end. This is how it is. A start of HTML tag and end of HTML tag. Whatever I give in here, in the space here, are the attributes. Whatever I give here is the kind of text or values information into that HTML element. Okay. In this case, ID is an attribute, class, href, and so on. Forgot password is the text. So if I change that text on even here, let's say inspect element with Firebird, let's change this to forgot PSWD, it will change here. See, it will automatically display that. So in our case, it is forgot password. So let's say link equals forgot password and click on find. Is it able to find, team? It is not able to. Let's refresh this. Now find. There you go. You see this? This is the other way for us to figure it out. The first way that we did was using ID equals this value. Very critical, team. This is so fundamentally important that you cannot say it's easy or so. You have to practice a lot on element identification. Very, very important. If we do not do this, there is no point in going to WebDriver, Core Java, or framework. It is that important. Okay. So click, let's say link equals forgot password. So we've come here. Now what do we want to do? I want to enter the email address. How do I do it? Right click, inspect element with Firebird. I'll copy this. Okay. And I'm going to put this out here. Now, tell me, how do I identify this element, team? So just like ID, there's another attribute called name, which you'll see in a lot of applications. As we encounter them, I'll keep teaching you, team. How do I do it? Give the right answer, team. So Ruxana, yes, why can't we use select and find the element? The only reason I've not shown it is because it's too easy to learn. There's nothing to teach there. So I don't want to teach anything that's easy to teach. It looks readily available. So for example, I can say select and click here, this element. It will automatically get me something. This is another way to identify, which is the CSS, but we don't want it. The power of automation tools, and when we hand hold customize it, okay, when we use our own intelligence to write our scripts. I'll tell you more about it as we go along. How do we identify exactly? So let's say ID equals login underscore username. Perfect. Hopefully this should work. Let's go check it out. Now, what is the command that we need to perform? Click, right? So we want to click here, and target is this. They find perfect. It's able to highlight. Sometimes the yellow color may not really show well, team, but go to your log and make sure that that is also in sync with what you're saying. Okay, so it is able to find. Now, this is the step that we created. Yes. So everything correct with the step, team? Guys, this is where we need to be very attentive and focused. This is where the variations will come. Click on ID equals username. Where is the email address, guys? Some blank email we were thinking, right? Some dummy one. Now everything correct. We have the command. We have the right target. We have a test data. Any issue with it? Or what do you want to do here, team? Let's go back to our drawing board. We want to enter an email address. What is the point in clicking an element and saying that it's a username? It's like going to this and saying, click here. What will you do? Nothing. What is it that we want to do? We want to type something there, right? See, as soon as I write type, it will get me the command for it. And now this is good. All right, everyone. Then the same element, there is another way to do the element identification, the Xpath. Okay, to do the Xpath way of element identification, it is the most interesting, most preferred, and the most in terms of flexibility. This is what it will do. So once you master Xpath, you don't have to worry about other things too much. Okay, the Xpath format is very simple. 2 slashes, HTML tag, open square brackets, @ attribute name equals single quote @ attribute value. All right. This is how we write an Xpath. Simplicity. That's it. Now, let's try and write a Xpath first for this, what we see here. Okay. So I'll say // what is the HTML tag for this forgot password link team? Everyone? It has to be exact. Always remember, HTML tag is the one right after the less than symbol. It is A, just A. Just A team. Then open square brackets at ID is an attribute name here, and the value is this. So I copy this, say equal to single quote, and here is the Xpath. Hopefully, unless I go to Selenium IDE and verify it, if it's the right Xpath or not, for this element. Oops, locator not found. That means something is wrong. What could be wrong? All right, I'm back, team. Can you all hear me okay now? Lost audio for a quick second. There's no command, but it's got nothing to do with command. It's just target. Finding the target. Could be wrong. Seriously, what could be wrong? You remember something I told you, the basics of automation? That this tool is very dumb. It does not have its own artificial intelligence. It is not smart by itself. Okay? It will just tell and do what you ask. It is trying to find this element here. That's it. Now, you can see it, then you can say something is wrong. Can you first see it, everyone? Can you see the link? Then how do you think this tool can see? There's absolutely no way it can see, team. So you have to make sure in the right page for it. So this is the page. Now let's say find. Can you see that? It is able to identify. Now in the same fashion, I can also write that the XPath is, instead of ID, I'll say class. Okay? Class equals forgot underscore password underscore link. Okay, that's the class. It does not look meaningful for me from a web development perspective, but that's how the developers gave it right now. Now, this should also work, hopefully. You know when it will not work, team? When there are more than one element with the class and a lot of other things are happening like that. Okay, otherwise it should work without any issues there. All right, so there goes our XPath for it. So instead of this, I can also use any of these. So this also, I'll write it out here. Now, can you take a minute, each of you, and tell me the XPath for this element called input? This username field that we have, which is the email address that we entered. Can you tell me, please, what can be the XPath for it? Look at how we did this, very simple format, and try and write an XPath. I want to see how many of you are able to do and how many of you are not able to do. Team, I want everyone to take a minute and please try this. Trust me, this is such an important activity. This is the basic building blocks for our automation testing career. Okay, only from here be able to go forward. I'm gonna freeze my screen while each of you are doing this and do something very interesting. I'll tell you without mentioning the student names, wrong answers what I got. I got this. Got this. Wow, so many wrong answers. It's okay, team. Only through these mistakes do we learn. And the good part about online education is that I'm not having to criticize anyone. All right. So team, for some of you who have not yet done it, please go ahead and do it. And it is so important to see where we could possibly be going wrong. And you'll see so many of them are not in the same exact format. And you will better be able to understand this. I'm copying and pasting all the wrong answers. Then you can tell me what is wrong in each of them. In fact, some of these wrong answers that I'm saying could also work. Are you all able to hear me okay, team? Can you say yes or not, please? Okay, cool. Because it keeps telling me there's some audio issue. Okay, cool. So let me tell you or show some of the wrong answers that I've received. Now tell me what could be wrong with the first one. There are few things wrong, team. Why do we need space here? That is not the format. The stupid thing about a software program or any of these tools related with software is that they will take it in a specific format. Maybe it will still accept it. I'm not saying not. That is not the format. The format is HTML tag, square brackets, at the attribute name equals single quotes, attribute value, and so on. So the spaces is the problem here. Okay. What about the second one? What is the problem with this one? The one I highlighted now. The curl bracket instead of the square bracket. And what else? ID is uppercase I and then D. Maybe it's not important. It is not case sensitive. In fact, it wouldn't matter. But you have to always practice to give the right information. What about the next one? We wrote it as HTML tag and we never gave the actual HTML tag. It's just random, right? So it is not saying anything. What about this one, team? And this is where the eyes of a tester will become important. You know, that eye should be the eyes of the tiger, team, or of an eagle, where you're able to, at a very distant level, figure out what seems to be wrong there. One of the biggest qualifications that we need, not as important as communication, technical skill, but just as soon as you see something, you know what is right and wrong. So double quotes, our standard was single quote, double quote. So when I said single quote, how could you assume that it's a double quote? So that assumption, team, please lose it. Do not assume anything. Now once again, this could work. I'm not saying that this will not work. In fact, let's go try some of these. Okay, the new one, we'll just put this and say find. See, it does find it. It's not that it is a mistake, but when we were talking about that this is single quote, you should not have taken double quote. That's the only thing. The reason is not about now. The reason is this could affect somewhere else for us. That kind of thing. Now what about this one here? Input ID at, right? See, number one, ID is outside the square bracket. It should be after that symbol. So team, this is where you have to be very careful. And believe me, team, all this came from each of us. It is not randomly that I was creative enough to create this. It all came from us. What about this one? Perfect input, square brackets at ID, space, I don't know. But what is this two single quotes? These things will cause an issue, team. There is another issue with this. If you look at, see, find, it will not find. So let's remove one single quote. Find, still not find. Username was lowercase, not uppercase. Oops. Find, now it is finding. So the spaces did not actually matter like we thought. Maybe it will or it will not. But I don't want to assume anything. The problem with any software application, the biggest reason why defects come is of one single word called as assumption and non-verification. Assuming something or not getting it verified is the problem. Okay. Now let's continue. Let's look. What is wrong here? A instead of at the rate. What about here? I think I repeated this twice. What is wrong here, team? What's wrong in the highlighted one? No HTML tag. What if I put it here and say find? It says nothing. What about the next one right after that? Actually here, this one. Okay, let's look at this. How about this? What is wrong here, team? Wrong HTML tag. See, no HTML tag, wrong HTML tag, uppercase, lowercase, spaces within, additional single quotes, curl brackets. So many possibilities of making an error, even after me showing so clearly what has to be done. It is not a, like a blunder. It is a human error, team. And the biggest reason is we kind of assume a lot of things. How about this one? What is wrong here, team? The last one. Some of you saying nothing is wrong. How can there be nothing wrong? There's something different, right? Of course it is wrong. Yes, it may work. In fact, it will, and I'll tell you why it will work. Okay? All right, let's see. Fine. See, this worked. The star actually worked. The reason it worked, team, is in the Xpath, when we say star, right? In Xpath, oops, when we say star, it will get replaced with any HTML tag. What that means is basically we're telling Selenium, go and find any element with any HTML tag which has an attribute with the name ID and the value login underscore username. That is what it is. Sometimes you don't have to necessarily give this HTML tag. The only reason that we should not try and overuse it is because it will search through the entire page. If it's a long page, it could be a performance issue, which will hurt the first thing in ERA, efficiency, in a longer run. Okay, but when we have no alternates, it will come to be used well, and we will come to do a lot more about regular expressions and how do we do it once we get to a little bit on WebDriver. All right, so that is how we do an XPath, and this is how we do not do an XPath. Some of these are correct, and some of these we have also evaluated, but you have to maintain the standard. Fair enough, everyone? Now let's finish this test case very quickly. So type this login underscore username. So this is easy, right? Let's do harder thing. Let's write the XPath. Where forgot password, right click here, inspect element with Firebug. How do I write the XPath first? / second HTML tag is input, open square bracket, @ attribute name is ID equals single quote login underscore username. All right. Now let's say fine. Perfect. After this, what do we do, team? So let's delete this. Let's delete this and create a new command. We click on this. So I'll say click and right click on recover, inspect element with Firebug. I have this information. Now you can help me write one more Xpath. Little faster this time, please. Write an Xpath for this. Take a minute or two and write an Xpath for this, please. Meanwhile, I'm going to go and refresh one skill on Xpath element identification using text. Okay, good. And try and not make mistake on this, please. Everyone, attempt. So once you realize, you should be able to do it. See, some of you guys are still missing something. It has to be standard, team. / button at option class as an attribute or type. Let's say we use class, hoping there's nothing else that has the same one. See, the space, I'm using space. As is, I'm getting it. Oops, sorry, the screen. All right, so I try to write the same one. Now it can be type or this. So let's put this information. Q&A. Okay, click here. Find. There you go, found. It's not showing yellow, right? Is it finding it or not, team? It's just doing a little highlight. If you go to log at least, it should not throw an error. So clear this log. So there's nothing and say fine. It looks like it's working. How about if I want to use the text called recover? See, this button has a text, team, right? This button has a text. So what if I want to use the button which has got the text called recover? How do I do that? Now, the way we have to do things, team, is depending on a circumstances. Sometimes what will happen, there will be two buttons here, recover or login, let's say another button. Both have the same class. Then what will happen? It can get confused, right? Which one to click on? By default, Xpath, the way it works, it will take the first one which it meets the criteria. Then let's say the recover is second. And type also is the same. So I'm saying that let us say there is a human, or for example in our class, okay, they have the same first name and last name. Now first name, last name is the same. What do I do? I have to look at additional ways. How do we dynamically identify elements? And this is a big topic by itself. Okay, let's try and cover this part tomorrow, dynamically identifying the element. But let's continue with our remaining things. Okay, so at that time I can do something as a variation thing. I can say text open brackets square brackets equals that specific text called recover. So lot of these elements have text in between, button, links, and so on. So I can use that it is of type button, HTML tag, and the text that it contains is called recover. Now let's see if this will work. I was not sure 100% of this thing, so I went and kind of searched online and found a solution. Does it find it? At least log is not throwing an error. I can see certain variation here. So this is also working team. All right. Sorry team. Kind of a little yawny because long day for me today. All right. Getting the point team. We have done like about 30% of Xpath team. So, oops. This one I didn't want to write this. Okay. Dynamically identify elements. So this is something we'll do a lot more tomorrow. That's going to be very, very interesting. Now we have done this portion. So I don't need this. I can delete this command. Delete. Have this. Finally, after we click on recover, we want to verify this text. Correct? So I want to text very text. If I write T, I'm getting type and few commands there. T. What do I want to do? Present text. No P. Only pause. Verify. Oops. There you go. See. Verify text. Now, this is very critical thing. As a learner, all right. As a learner, how do we? Sorry, team. How do we learn anything for the first time? Either by seeing someone or someone teaching you, or in our world of automation testing, by doing a simple record whenever we are in doubt. Perfect, no problem, use it. Or by experimenting around and trying this and trying that. That is the team, nothing else. Now I don't know if verify text is correct. At least reference will tell me something. Get the text of an element, early element and so on. What did we do here? Hey, verify text itself. Great. And do you see team here? There's something different out here in target. CSS equals and so on. That we have not yet covered. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay. So verify text. Where? Out here. Right click. Inspect element with Firebug. Perfect. I got the thing. Xpath for this. H1 is the HTML tag @ class equals single quotes page title. Okay. End quotes. That's it. Now, always remember team that this specific thing that I'm teaching you right now is very, very critical. You have to be a master at element identification and there's no question about it. Now let's put the text in, okay, and see if this is the text we want. Now hopefully our test case is fine. Okay. Good. Let's run this and see. What happened? Log. Button not found. Button, this step failed. Did verify text? It has not gone till the stop the test execution right here. Click. Did it enter the email address team? It should also enter the email address, right? Now, do you see what I'm saying? It is not just where it failed. Did it perform all the steps? Maybe too fast. We'll do it little slow, okay? Now it entered. Now it went. Now it's saying, oops, the page can't be found. Why did it fail when it's fast? It should not fail. Because end of the day, we'll run it fast. Now also it didn't fail. I have expected it to fail actually. Here, there you go. I gave it a full speed and it failed. I don't see it entering the email address team. The reason I think is because this click command, right, will click, but sometimes it will have to wait for the new page to load. So if I say click and wait, it's a command where it will wait for the page, because it is going to wait for a certain amount of time if it does not have an issue, or it will throw an error to you. Okay, now let's try and run. Now it is working fine at full speed. Why? Because of click and wait. Anytime you see a page navigating, you want to make sure that you don't just click, but you also click and wait. Even this one is actually navigating, right? Recover. It is going too fast for it to recognize. I'll say click and wait. Now we'll run it. Still having an error thing. Why? Coming here. Can we see what we want? Yes. Then why can't our test see? That should be the question we should ask. Verify text is in red because it's failing. The tests were executed, we ran one test and it failed. So this is one test case we have. This is the other test case. So I'm running single test case. This button to the left of it, team, is to run the entire test suite. Means multiple test cases put together will become one test suite, team. So I can save this test suite as, let's say, neon. All right. Now I can run both the tests. The first test case is going too quick. Let's go slow. Why didn't it run this? It ran this also, is it? No, it says only one run. Supposed to run both. Come on. See again, this ID, right? If you look at the release notes and so on, this is 2.9. See, honestly, what happened, even with Selenium HQ, right? They have not really focused on ID, saying, oh, what, I want to make ID the best. They did not do it. They said, let's make WebDriver the best. So Radhika, you're right about it. And a few more people, you're right. Kushal, you're also right. I actually know I deliberately kept an error there. But I want people to be able to get into an analysis position as to why is it going wrong, what is happening, because this can be the most disheartening thing lot of us will face. Karthik, I'm trying to do everything you said, but it's not working. I'll ask, what is the problem? They'll tell me, my script is not working, Karthik, that's it. It's not working. Given it is not going to work. There's nothing. I did everything you said. It's not working, I say. But why is it not working? It's failing. Failing somewhere. The problem is we don't analyze things. Where is the problem? What could be the potential issue? How do we fix it? The problem is here. Can we see it? Yes. Why can't Selenium see it? Is the target correct? Of course. See, there you go. Then what is the value correct? Yeah, oops, the page can't be found. Same thing. Let's make sure, doubly make sure, inspect element with Firebug. This is the text. So sometimes it is easy for me to double click on this text and copy paste here. Was there a difference between this one and the earlier one? Yes or no? Was there a difference? Yes or no between this and the earlier one? So team, again, I didn't ask what the difference was. Just say yes or no. Yes, there was a difference or no. So some of you are saying no. Some of you are saying yes. I wonder how you're saying yes. And not sure also is a valid answer, because you're not sure about it. That is why, team, to become amazing at software testing and automation, you have to be very present and you have to be conscious of what you're seeing constantly. There is a dot here. Believe on this, team. What you're seeing today and what is going through is something that is lacking in maximum number of professionals in the software testing worldwide. All right, this attention to detail. The dot was missing at the end. I actually deliberately gave it to you. But sometimes even experts, right, take a long time to figure out what is gone wrong, what is gone wrong. Then a kid may walk in and say, hey, there's a dot missing there. Did you notice? That is the problem. Let's run this again. Now, is there an error or no error? See, error or no error? How do we know error? Run here. Can you see this? This is green. That is number one. And just take your mouse over verify text command. It will show you dark green. That is the reason. Understood, team? How do we write custom script and how do we identify elements using Xpath in very simple manner? This is exactly what is important to do. Now, each of you already have access to this link, I'm assuming. Sorry, team. If not, I'm just going to put in chat for all of you. Take this and try to practice on creating a test case on Selenium IDE for the user sign up. And here, just focus on writing Xpath script for each of this. Okay, for each of this, write Xpath. Wherever you have question, it is okay since you're at the very beginning to record only where you have absolutely tried and unable to find the solution, and then see why, what is it doing differently. Sorry all. I wonder when my throat will get better. Any questions for me, please? All right, so a couple of questions that I'm seeing, team. I'm going to quickly take them first. What is the name of this Xpath and why do we use it for? I honestly don't know this name of this Xpath. I'll put this question. Okay, yeah. It's basically trying to find Xpath based on the text of an element. And the reason why we need it is many times you'll see that this ID or name is missing. If it is missing as an attribute, one of the easiest ways to find an element, then we have to use the Xpath way. And for that, we don't have any other attributes or everything else looks same. Then we know that the text is a good differentiator for us. That's the reason. Which one are we going to concentrate, CSS or Xpath? We will concentrate on Xpath, team. But I'll also show you CSS tomorrow. How do you identify elements using CSS? For input tag, we can use Xpath based on values as well, correct? Yes, we can. So anything, team. So for example, in here, we have, it's a placeholder is there, email address and so on. Once you type the value, there could be a value within it. Okay, but sometimes the text or value is not an attribute, and that's why we don't use the at. In this case, you don't see anywhere saying text equals recover, right? That's why we don't have an @ symbol in front, and we have two brackets out here and then recover. That's the formatting. That's the format in which Xpath has been built, and that is how what we have to learn. No, I mean input type as text, maybe in some cases combo box. not as input type. Yeah, type equals text can be there, but then we'll say right at type equals text. That's what we'll say. Does Selenium IDE works in MacBook? Guys, once again, focus on English, please. Does Selenium IDE work on MacBook? Okay. So yes, it does. Selenium IDE does, WebDriver does, Eclipse does, Java does. Everything on Selenium will work on MacBook. Absolutely no issues. In fact, I used to use MacBook till recent, but then I had to kind of donate it to my, rather it was snatched away by my offshore team because they were doing some interesting iOS app development. They needed one additional Mac. The last time I went to India, it just got snatched from me. All right, team. Looks like that's about it for today then. We will meet tomorrow. Same link, same time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And let's go through the remaining part of the session. So primarily, what I'm doing is laying the foundation, team. And this is very critical. A lot of training tutorials are there which talk about Selenium IDE being easy and so on. But if you look at the amount of learning that we're doing, it's not about the record and playback. It is primarily more towards element identification and the smart way for us to see where as test engineers we are actually going wrong. In automation, you can never go wrong, team. Manual testing, you make an error, it is on one test case or one test set. Automation testing, you make an error, it gets replicated everywhere. So that's why we have to be more and more careful. All right, all. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, evening, and we'll see you back tomorrow then. Take care all. Thanks now. Bye. Bye, everyone.